Hi to everyone. In the first video, we saw our Narayana Murthy delivering a speech when he received Lal Bahadur Shastri National Award for Excellence in Public Administration and Management Sciences. It was in the year 2001 that he received the award. In this speech, actually, he began with an introduction explaining what should be the value system of a society. See, what should be the value system? It's a protocol for behavior that enhances trust, confidence, and commitment of members of the community. How to balance the interests of individuals with that of the society or community. So he says that here are some lessons that we should follow or we should learn from the West. Some of you might say that these are ancient Indian values, but he says that I don't care whether it is Indian values or Western values. More important is whether we practice it or not. And the most important point he was emphasizing was that we Indians have strong family values, strong bond of blood relation. But when we come to social values, it is not reflected. Yes. The values that we uphold with our family, it is not followed in our approach towards society. Yes, that he was explaining in detail. So we have seen 2 pages in the first video. Take page number 58. I hope you have taken. Okay. Yes. And he was explaining what all are the impediments for social progress, such as corruption, then individuals are not responsible, then evading taxes, then not honoring social contracts, etc. are some of the impediments for social progress in India. Let us continue. Apathy in solving community matters. Apathy I have already explained. Indifference means not caring, not bothering what is happening. Apathy in solving community matters, common community social matters, has held us back from making progress. It has prevented us from making any progress which is otherwise within our reach. Had it not been for our apathy, indifference, the progress would have been within our reach. We could have progressed a lot. We see serious problems around us, but do not try to solve them. Even when we see a lot of problems, we do not try to solve them. We behave as if the problems do not exist or somebody else's. It is somebody's problem. We don't bother. We don't care. We don't bother about the social problems of our society. Yes, we are apathetic. We are indifferent. Not caring. Not bothering. As if it is somebody else's problem. Yes. On the other hand, in the West, look at the Western countries. In the West, people solve societal problems proactively. Yes, they are active and proactive. So they solve their social problems, common problems proactively. There are several examples of our apathetic attitude. We can find a good lot of so many examples of our apathetic attitude towards societal or social problems. For example, for instance, All of us are aware of the problem of drought in India, lack of rain. You see, one economist was once telling that Indian economy is a gamble of monsoons. If monsoon does not come in time, our entire economy will collapse. So there will be drought in some states. At the same time, there will be flood in some other states. Is it not so? Yes, that is a variety of, our country. Yes, drought problem. Okay, more than 40 years ago, even more than 40 years ago, Dr. K.L. Rao, an irrigation expert, even 40 years before, an irrigation expert suggested creation of a water grid connecting all the rivers in the north and the south India. If we can make a grid, a connecting link of all the rivers getting connected, we can solve the problem of drought in India. Because as I have already told you that in some states it will be drought, at the same day it will be flood in some other states. See, if you can connect from Assam or northern states to southern states up to Kerala, we can solve many of the water problems and drought also. We know many quarrels are going on between states. Kaveri water problem between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Is it not so? Mullaperiyar between Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Yes, if there is a unified code of conduct, how to share these waters? If all the rivers are connected, if there is a union agency to solve the problems, many of the water problems as well as drought problems can be solved. An irrigation expert suggested this 40 years before. Yes, unfortunately, nothing has been done about this. Till now, nothing has been done. The story of power shortage in Bangalore is another instance. Power shortage in Bangalore. See, IT hub Bangalore. Yes, Infosys has played a very important role in developing Bangalore into an IT hub, of which he is chairman, a founder. Okay, now he is not, the CEO is someone else. Okay, you know it. In 1983, it was decided to build a thermal power plant to meet Bangalore's power requirements. 1983. You see, unfortunately, we have still not started it. Delay, bureaucracy and bureaucratic hurdles, prevents us from getting progress. Further, the Milan subway in Mumbai or Bombay is in a deplorable state. Subway is very important for progress of a state or a city. You see, for the last 40 years, and no action has been taken. These are the impediments for the progress of our society. Yes, many impediments are there. Bureaucratic hurdles. State government or cabinet may pass a law, but when it comes to executive section, these collectors, they will go only according to law. From one desk to another desk, it takes many years and years. Then the cost of production will go up, cost of construction will go up, and again delay will be there, many hurdles will be there. That is our system, bureaucracy. And government employees won't deviate from their rules and regulations. Then there will be corruption. All these things are there. These are the hurdles or impediments for the progress of India. Yes. So obstacles are there in many ways. So we are not proactive towards social progress. Our indifference towards social problems prevents us from making good progress. Yes, we are not proactive. We are indifferent. This paragraph, we Indians would do well to remember Thomas Hunter's words. Idleness travels very slowly. Those idle people should understand that idleness travels very slowly and poverty soon overtakes it. These idle people should remember that soon they will be overcome by poverty. You know what is poverty? Yes. See, having nothing to eat and no money, that's what poverty is. Opposite of richness. So if you are idle for a long time, slowly you will be in poverty. Money not there, wealth not there, you will be in poverty after some time. So idleness travels so slowly, but very soon it will be overtaken by poverty. What would be the reason for all this? What's the reason for all these things? We are ruled by foreigners for over 1,000 years. You should understand that we had been ruled by foreigners. Not only Britishers, before them also many were there, history. Okay. So we have been ruled by foreign countries, foreign nations, etc. Thus we have always believed that public issues belong to some foreign ruler. Social problems, public issues, none of our matter, none of my business or our business, done by some foreign rulers, and that we have no role in solving them. We have no part to play in solving public issues or social problems. Moreover, we have lost the will to proactively solve our own problems. We have lost the willpower to solve social problems. Yes, we don't have that willpower to solve the problems of society. Yes. You see, thus we have got used to just executing someone else's orders. Our mind is submissive. We are willing to execute somebody's orders. We are not willing to take the responsibility of executing we ourselves. That is what? Our mindset is submissive because we had been ruled by foreign nationals, East India Company, etc. and etc. You know it. Okay, na? That is why our mindset should change. So we are willing to, execute somebody's orders. We are not able to solve our own problems. If someone says, we are willing to follow that or obey them, not taking the responsibility ourselves. Yes. Thus we have got used to just executing someone else's orders. Borrowing Aristotle's words, it's a speech. If we take into consideration the words of Aristotle, see, we are what we repeatedly do. We are the sum total of what we are doing repeatedly. Which means we have been obeying orders that we are accustomed to, we are familiar with. We are not accustomed to, taking decisions ourselves and implementing it. We are just submissive in our mindset. Yes, this we have done this over years, for many years, long years, we have been doing the same thing. Decision makers in our society are not trained to solving problems. Decision makers are not trained to solve problems themselves. Our decision makers look to somebody else to take decisions. They look at somebody else to make these decisions. Unfortunately, there is nobody to look up to, and this is a tragedy. Yes, we have nobody else to look up. That means to turn to. That means we don't implement or execute decisions ourselves. We just follow what somebody else says. Our mindset is submissive. We have been obedient for long years. See, after the independence, a politician commented that the difference between British rule and Indian rule is that previously we were bowing before British Maharajas. British, in the sense that British rulers. Now we are bowing before Indian Maharajas. That means we are same. No change has happened. Previously we were obeying the foreign rulers. Submissive, 100% submissive. Is it not so? Yes, I remember, in a cinema, Kalapani, it was narrated or pictured, portrayed very clearly that when a British Sahib comes, an Indian would go and bend his back and he would step on the back of an Indian to mount it is a horse-drawn carriage. Yes, at that time this kind of cars etc. was not available very often. The British, they would come in a carriage, horse-drawn carriage. It is somewhat high There is no steps. So an Indian would go and bend his bike, and he would step on that bike, and he would mount into that horse-drawn carriage. See, we were submissive for long. You see, and in that cinema, I remember the hero telling that an Indian's bike is not a footboard. Indian's bike had been a footboard for long. Submissive. That mindset is still remaining in our mind. We are willing to obey the orders, not willing to take the responsibility of implementing and executing we ourselves. That's the main problem for us. I told us the last video or first video, I told, when you go in a government office, you are submissive. You are a citizen of India as equal as everyone else. So the first citizen president of India, even to the last grade government servant, all are equal before the eyes of law. All are equal before the eyes of law. And you should be like that. Yes, that you don't feel the dignity of your citizenship. Even the rulers, ministers, they are the servants. Do you know? The word minister comes from the word ministrare, which means servant. That means they should serve the people of India. But are they serving? No. They serve themselves first. Then if they have time enough, they would do something for the public. That's all. And executives, employees, that means IAS, IFS, all clerks including, they are the Rajas and rulers. We are the obedient servants. See, our mindset is like that. When you get a government office, you are entitled to get a seat there. Come sir, please be seated. Are you told like that? No, you are not told. And you are not demanding also. You go there and bow your head before them and say, sir, you call them. They will lift their head. I told it once. Is it not so? That mindset is still continuing. Before it was British Rajas, now it is Indian Rajas. That is all. Our mind is always submissive. You should feel that you are an independent citizen of India, as equal as anybody else and everybody else. You should have that willpower to emphatically assert your right. That's what. So our mindset should change. We should not be submissive. Should be authoritative. You are a citizen of India, as equal as anybody else or everybody else. Yes, that's what. Let us move on to the next paragraph. Another interesting attitude which we Indians can learn from the West. Another lesson that we can learn from the West is that is their accountability. We should be accountable for what we are doing. Should be answerable, accountable for whatever we are doing as responsible citizens as well as their responsible government officials, etc. and etc. Whoever is doing something should be responsible for that. Accountability. Irrespective of your position in the West, you are held accountable for what you do. Whatever position you are accountable, you are answerable. However, in India, the more important you are, the less answerable you are. The more important you are, the VIPs never answer. They think they are above the law of the land. Yes, the more important you are, you feel the less answerable you are. For instance, a senior politician, once declared that he forgot to file his tax returns for 10 consecutive years. He should submit it every year, financial year. But he simply said that he forgot to pay the tax for 10 years. Yes. And he got away with it. He escaped punishment. He was not punished. He was not held answerable for that. He simply told, I forgot to pay my tax. That's all. The more important you are, the less answerable you are. In India, it should not be like that. Look at the Western countries. They are answerable. Accountability is another lesson we can learn from the West. To quote another instance, there are over 100 laws-making public sector units. More than 100 laws-making, profit laws, public sector industries in India. Nevertheless, I have not seen action taken for bad performance against top managers in these organizations. Even when government companies make laws, the CEO, the high officials, they get their due salary every month very punctually. And they are not bothered whether the company is in loss or profit. None of their business too. That's the main reason why, public sector is not functioning well. Many companies are in loss, but employees are in profit now. Companies, make a huge amount of loss, but nobody bothers it is in loss or, a profit. Because they're not answerable. They're not accountable. Accountability is another factor that we can learn from the West. Let us move on to the next paragraph. Dignity of labor is another. It is an integral part of Western value system. Dignity of labor. Whatever labor you are doing, it is a dignified. Yes, dignity of labor. We should learn from the West. You can find the Westerners coming here doing their own business themselves. They don't ask a porter or coolie to come and take their luggage, and they carry themselves. Their work they do. They don't find anything wrong. It's not so. We feel it's shameful to carry our luggage or do some labor outside. We don't do that. Dignity of labor is another lesson we can learn from the West. In the West, each person is proud about his or her labor that raises honest sweat. Earning money from your sweat on your bro, that means working very hard. Yes, he feels proud about his earning money by working hard. On the other hand, in India, we tend to overlook the significance of those who are not in professional jobs. In a country, jobs are of many types and kind. Some are professionals, people like engineers, doctors, etc. So if they are trained for that, they would do only that job. They won't do anything other than that. We have a mindset that reverse misrespects only supposedly intellectual work. In an organization, there will be many people, those who are on top up to those who are at the bottom of that organization. Everybody's work is important. Dignity of labor is another lesson we can learn from the West. There are many lessons that we can learn from the West. See, once upon a time, Western countries were learning lessons from India. Now it is time we learn lessons from them. There is another lesson we can learn from the West is a dignity of labor. Let's back it off. For instance, I have seen many engineers fresh from college. I have seen many engineers fresh from college, just graduated, who only want to do cutting edge work. Engineering work is cutting edge, means engineering work. See, and not work that is of relevance to business and the country. Other than that, they won't do any other work. Their profession, they would do only that they are willing to do. Yes. However, be it an organization or society, whether it is an organization or society, there are different people performing different roles. In any organization or society, different people would do different jobs. Yes, for success, all these people are required to discharge their duties. To be successful, everyone should discharge his own duties. This includes everyone from CEO, top level manager, or one who is in charge of the executing the duties or responsibilities, CEO, to the person who serves tea. Yes, one who serves tea, is it, for the employees. Every role is important. Each one's work is important. Hence, we need a mindset that reverse misrespects everyone who puts his honest work. We must be respecting each and everyone who performs his duties. Dignity of labor is another lesson we can learn from the West. Indians become intimate even without being friendly. Another lesson we can learn is that we become intimate even without being friendly. Intimacy and friendships are different. Intimacy means nearness. See, familiarity. Suppose early in the morning, when a newspaper boy comes to your house to give you a newspaper, you are familiar with him. He is not in friendship with you. Neither you are in friendship with him. Difference is there. Familiarity. Okay, now? Yes. there is a intimacy. See, they ask favors of strangers without any hesitations. Indians have no hesitation to asking for help. Stretching your arm, you will ask, help me, sir. No shame also. Generally, people of India like that. Okay, now they would ask help even to strangers, not even to friends. Friends, no doubt, whenever you are in need, you will go and beg instead of trying to find a solution yourself. That's your mindset. No hesitation in asking help. For instance, the other day, when I was traveling from Bangalore to Mantralaya, I met a fellow traveler on the train. While traveling in a train, hardly 5 minutes into the conversation, just 5 minutes into the conversation, he requested me to speak to his MD. An employee, see, casually met while traveling in a train. He asked me to request his MD for removing him from the bottom 10% list in his company. Yes, the companies would mark those people who are not performing. See, bottom level 10% employees. You earmarked for disciplinary action for non-performance. He asked me, please talk to my MD, see, and remove me from those bottom level 10% people who are marked for a bad performance. He has no hesitation to request, to beg. That's the mindset of an Indian, says Narayana Murthy. I was reminded of what Rudyard Kipling once said. Then I was reminded what Rudyard Kipling once said. A Westerner can be friendly without being intimate. A Westerner can be friendly without being intimate, while an Easterner tends to be intimate without being friendly. Yes, an Easterner can be intimate without being friendly. Okay, now there is a difference between Western people and Eastern people. Okay, so we are Easterners. So we are very intimate, even without having any friendship. We would ask for alms, help, etc., etc. That we would never find in Western countries. This is a lesson we have to learn. We can learn from the West. Yet another lesson to be learned from the West is that about their professionalism. They are 100%, 100% professional. This is another lesson we can learn from the West. Professionalism. The common good being more important than personal equations. Common good is more important than personal equations. People do not let personal relations interfere. There in the West, people do not permit personal relations interfere, come between with their professional dealings. Personal things are there, professional things are different. They don't connect them together, or there is no connection, no relation, nothing personal, everything professional. Yes. For instance, they don't hesitate to chastise a colleague, punish a colleague, even if he is a personal friend. No hesitation. If he does not perform, he must be punished. Yes, for incompetent work. If he is not competent enough, he will be punished for that. No matter whether he is a personal friend or someone relative or whoever be. Nepotism, that's what. Nepotism is doing favors to your friends and relatives. See, you are misusing your office in order to do favors to your friends and relatives. It's called nepotism. Yes. In India, I have seen that we tend to view even work interactions from a personal perspective. Even in profession, work interactions are, taken personally. We connect it with our personal relations or intimacy. Further, we are the most thin-skinned society in the world. Thin-skinned. That means we feel hurt, insulted. See, when somebody is telling something professionally, if you are not performing well, you will be scolded by your higher authority. Someone like that. But you feel it that you are insulted. It is not taken professionally. It's part of the job. You have taken in such a way. But you are such thin-skinned. We take to heart. Means getting insulted. Okay, now? Yes. We see insults where none is meant. Even nothing is, no insult is meant. We take it as an insult. Personal insult, we take it as. This may be because we were not free for most of the last 1,000 years. Maybe because we have been, submissive, not free for thousands of years, ruled by foreigners. For instance, where is that? Yes. Further, we seem to extend this lack of professionalism to our sense of punctuality. Yes, lack of professionalism is not there in our sense of punctuality. Be punctual. We do not seem to respect the other person's time. It's quite usual in our society. No punctuality. We don't care for others' time. If the class is fixed at 8:30, you would come at 9 o'clock. No punctuality. Okay, now if meeting is arranged at 5 o'clock, people know that 5 o'clock means 5:30. 5:30 means beginning will be at 6 o'clock. Is it not so? People start to come at 6 o'clock if the meeting is at 5:30. And the meeting would begin 1 hour late. Okay, now? So everything will be collapsed. All arrangements would be collapsed because no punctuality. Yes, the Indian Standard Time somehow seems to be always running late. Our time is always running late because people will come late, everything will be performed late. No punctuality. Moreover, deadlines are, typically not met. Yes, deadline is not met. If deadline, you see, suppose if you are asked to submit your project, something like that, you are asked to submit by 30th, you start writing on 30th. People are like that. Because 30th is a date, of course, 1 week, no problem. See, deadlines are not met here in India, but it's not like that in Western countries. How many public projects are completed on time? Yes, a public project, you see, it will not be completed. Again, a retender will be there, again amount will be increased, again loss would be there. It's like that. The disheartening aspect is that we have accepted this as a norm, as a standard, than the exception. So generally it is like there is a standard. So once there can be an exception, you see, some project may be delayed, some reason might be there, maybe flood, maybe drought, many reasons might be there. But it happens each and every time because it has become the standard. Indian Standard Time always runs late because we don't, keep that deadline. Yes, deadlines are not met. We are always late. We are not punctual. This is what we can learn. Another lesson that we can learn from the West. Of course, we know the entire essay or speech is about lessons that we can learn from the West. Learning from the West. Okay. In the West, they show professionalism by embracing meritocracy. You see, merit is given importance. Meritocracy. Yes, here it is mediocrity. There is a meritocracy. Is it not so? Mediocre performance hours. Merit and meritocracy is a word that the lesson we can learn from the Western countries. Meritocracy. Meritocracy by definition means that we cannot let personal prejudices affect our evaluation of an individual's performance. Nothing personal. Yes, personal performance cannot be connected with the individual's performances. Is it not so? Yes, personal prejudices affect our evaluation of individual's performance. That is what. So only merit. The criteria should be only merit. Nothing personal. Is what? Nothing personal, only merit. That is meritocracy. Nothing personal, only merit is meritocracy. As we increasingly start to benchmark ourselves, means the standard, we should make what? With the global standards. Our standard should be on par with, equal with global standards. Yes, international standards. We have to embrace meritocracy. It is high time we embraced meritocracy. we must always consider merit as the only criteria, because we have to compete with the international standards. We have to maintain that standard. Yes. In the West, right from a very young age, parents teach their children to be independent in thinking. That is a very important plus point or lesson we can learn. Parents teach the children to be independent, not dependent. Here, just the opposite. From childhood onwards, everything is done for you by your parents, your family members. You are quite free. You don't take responsibility yourself. That's a very problem of Indian students. There in the West, you are not, encouraged to do, to seek help from others. You must do yourself as you are able to, or you are made responsible. Yes, here in India it's not like that. You see, especially those children studying in the hostels now, everything done for them by the hostel authorities. Their ayahs would be there, helpers would be there. You don't do anything yourself. You won't study. There will be many to help you. You don't do yourselves. You don't take the responsibility in India. Yes, independent thinking they always encourage. Thus they grow up to be strong, confident individuals. In this way, they grow to be confident and independent individuals. In India, we still suffer from feudal thinking, feudal lords were there. Once upon a time it was there, feudalism. That mindset is still there in India. Indian people, Indian students especially. I have seen people who are otherwise bright, refusing to show independence and preferring to be told what to do by their boss. They are not independent in their mind. Mindset is not independent. That's why they are willing to obey the orders from a boss. They don't take the responsibility themselves. We need to overcome this attitude if we have to succeed globally. In order to succeed globally, we must be able to overcome this. The Western value system teaches respect for contractual obligations. If a contract is made, it should be maintained. It should be, maintained. Yes, any contract should be followed or maintained. So, the Western value system teaches to respect contractual obligations. In the West, contractual obligations are seldom dishonored. These obligations are never or seldom, rarely dishonored. This is important. Enforceability of legal rights and contracts. Legal rights and contracts should be enforceable. In the most important factor of in the enhancement of credibility. That is credible, that can be believed of our people and nations. Otherwise, nobody would believe us. Because when we sign a contract also, other one would doubt whether you would follow that. You would respect that contractual obligation. Yes, in India, we consider our marriage vows as sacred. Again, coming to Indian value system, our marriage vows are sacred, means holy. We respect that, we honor that. We are willing to sacrifice in order to respect our marriage vows. In order to respect the marriage vow, we are willing to take sacrifices. We are willing to make sacrifices in order to respect our marriage vows in India. However, we do not extend this to public domain. Again and again he says that this strong family relationship and responsibility is now reflected in our social activities. Yes, we respect the vows that we take in marriage, but same kind of respect is not given for social values and honoring the contract that we make with others. Okay, now, yes. To quote another instance, I had given recommendations to several students for the national scholarship for higher studies in US universities. I myself have recommended many students for getting scholarships in American universities. Most of them did not return to India, even though contractually they are obliged to spend 5 years after their degrees in India. So when they are suggested or recommended for scholarships, they are obliged to spend 5 years in India after they get the degree or qualification. In fact, according to a professor of at a reputed US university, according to a professor in a reputed American university, the maximum default rate for student loans is among Indians. In American universities, they go there, get scholarship, a huge amount they get a scholarship, and after that they have to pay after some years. Many scholarships are of many types. All need not be paid back. Many of them are to be paid back. They have to pay it back. But defaulters are there. And the most number of students, those who make this defaulter, they are from India. Indians. Once they get the job, they go on their way. Okay, na? They don't respect or honor contractual obligations. Okay, all of these students pass out in flying colors and land lucrative jobs, yet they refuse to pay back their loans. Once they get the job, they are happy, they refuse to pay back their loans. Defaulters are so huge, large number among Indian students. Thus, their action has made it difficult for the students after them. See, once they did not pay, what happens? The following year, coming years, when the students come from India, others doubt whether they would pay it back or not. In India also, the students would take loans from banks. Banks are unwilling to give educational loans. Why? Because once they get it, once they study, they won't pay it back. Then banks are to run after them. Because very often education loans, they don't demand any collateral security or any security. Only your copies or certificates required. Of course, government would pay some amount, but the banks would be in loss if huge amount is not paid back. Okay, na? So that is why banks very often hesitate to give educational loans, because defaulters are so many in number. They won't pay it back because they won't honor contractual agreement. Yes, that is one of the lessons we can learn from the West. See, we have to change this attitude. So Narayana says that we must change this attitude, of honoring contractual agreements. Further, we Indians do not display intellectual honesty. Another thing to be learned from West is that we must display intellectual honesty. For example, our political leaders use mobile phones to tell journalists that they do not believe in technology. Using technological equipment, mobile phones, they would say, we don't believe in technology. Do you remember when computerization was done for the first time, many political parties, making processions and strikes, telling that they don't believe in computerization. Now computer has become a part and parcel, part of our life. Okay, na? Unavoidable. See, there is no individual without a mobile phone. It's a part of our technological advancement. We cannot resist that. We have to embrace that. But our politicians would say, in order to get the votes, vote bank politics. Yes, if we want our youngsters to progress, such hypocrisy must be stopped. Hypocrisy, acting, is not so. Having one thing in mind and telling something else. Hypocrisy. We are hypocrites in a way. Is not so. Pretend to be something else, somebody else, not what we really are. Okay, now that is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy should be stopped. We are all aware of our right as citizens. We are aware what all rights we have got. Nevertheless, we often fail to acknowledge the duty that accompanies every right. If there is a right, there is a duty also. See, right and duty, they are two sides of the one coin. If there is a right, there is a duty connected with that. We must be willing to perform the duty if we are willing to take that right also. To borrow Dwight Eisenhower's words, people that value his privilege above his principles soon lose both. Those who are giving importance only to privilege would soon lose both. People that value privilege above principles. Principles will be lost, privilege also would be lost. So, principle here means duties. Yes, we should be willing to perform our duties, not simply demanding and taking our privileges. Our duty is towards the community as a whole. We have a duty towards the society, community as a whole, as much as it is towards our families. Again, that is a key word he is emphasizing. We have duty towards our family. That duty you must be performing. Our duty towards the society as well. The last paragraph of a long, big speech. We have to remember that fundamental social problems grow out of a lack of commitment. Many social problems basically come out from a lack of a social commitment for common good. We must be committed for society, social good and common good. To quote Henry Beecher, culture is that which helps us to work for the betterment of all. Our culture means we must be willing to work for the good of all, betterment of all. Not simply working for ourselves or our family. We must be willing to work for society, for the country, for the betterment of all. Hence, friends, speech, hence, dear friends, I do believe that we can make our society even better by assimilating these Western values in our own culture. You must take those Western values into our own culture. Many lessons he has explained. All these values should be taken into our own culture, assimilated into our own culture. We will be stronger for it. Yes, by that we become stronger. For that, assimilating Western values into our culture. Most of our behavior comes from greed, lack of self-confidence. Yes, our behavior very often comes from a greed. We will never be satisfied whatever we get. Again and again we want more and more. That's greed. Greedy people. Lack of self-confidence, another one. Lack of self-confidence in the nation is, confidence in the nation. Above another thing, we don't have confidence in our nation. Especially though when we get a good qualification, we want to go to another country, America or some other developed nations to get a better job there. We don't think that our nation, our motherland is more important than other nations. So we should have confidence into our own motherland, our own nation, our own country. Confidence into our own nation, our mother country should be there in every one of us. Lack of confidence in the nation, then a lack of respect for the society. You must be willing to respect our society. To borrow Gandhi's words, Mahatma Gandhi says, there is enough in this world for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. There is enough in the world for everyone's need. What we are in need of, there is enough and more, but not for everyone's greed. We are greedy. We want to earn more and more and more and more, and we are never satisfied. Greed. There is enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed, says Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, let us work towards a society where we would do unto others what we would have others do unto us. We should feel that what others you want to do towards you, you must do towards them. What you are expecting from others, you must do towards them. Yes, don't expect so much from others. But what you expect from others, you must be willing to do for them. So don't think what the nation has done for you, but think what you have done for the nation. Yes, very important that is. Don't always worry what the nation has done for you. Think what you can do or you have done for your nation, your motherland. Okay, let us all be responsible citizens, who make our country a great place to live. Let's be responsible citizens who make our country a great place to live. We must make our country a great place to live. In the words of Winston Churchill, responsibility is the price of greatness. Very important now. Responsibility is the price of greatness. We have to extend our family values beyond the boundaries of our home. The last but one paragraph also he says that, what's that? we have to extend our family values. We uphold our family values, and we must be willing to extend that values beyond the boundaries of our home, which means we must have the same values in societal problems and social values and work for the betterment of the society. Finally, let us work towards the maximum welfare of maximum people. Let us work towards the maximum welfare of a maximum people. Samasta, Janayam Sukhino Bhavantu. Okay, Samasta Janana Sukhino Bhavantu. In other words, Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. That is a principle you have to follow. Yes, let everyone be happy and good. Let us work for that. Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Yes. Thus, let us, the people of this generation, let we, the people of this generation, conduct ourselves as great citizens. Let us conduct ourselves or behave ourselves as a great citizens rather than just good people. Let us behave ourselves as a great citizens, not just good people, so that we can serve as good examples of for our younger generation. Yes, so let us behave as a great citizens, not simply as good people, so that we can be good examples, good models to be followed for the coming generation. It's a wonderful speech. He ends by telling that Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Yes, let there be good for each and everyone. Let us work for that. See, so he concludes his speech by telling these wonderful words. I hope you have understood, and I request once again to go through the lesson and watch the video several times. Thank you.